Welcome to the Amazing Grace Talk podcast. Conversations that explore how God has pursued those He has made in His image. My wife and host, Erika Seamayer-Williamson, is on a journey to meet everyday people who have experienced a radical encounter with the divine presence of unconditional love. These are the stories that remind us why God's grace is amazing.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to my podcast. My name is Erika, and I'm so glad you stopped by. It is my hope that through the amazing testimonies you will hear on this show will plant a seed in your heart and ignite your dreams, all for God's glory. Through much prayer and listening to God's direction, I actually retired from a 30-year career in 2020 to spend more time doing just that, helping women find clarity, overcome struggles, and discover their true calling. In 2016, I launched the Amazing Grace Retreats in the beautiful Black Hills of South Dakota. Started this podcast in September of last year, and in the spring, I will finish my autobiography, a book that shares my struggles and victories to prove that anyone can live in God's amazing grace for those who believe in Him. I can't wait to see you at the next retreat. On today's episode, we have a dear friend of mine who I've known for over 20 years. Her name is Tracy Doyle. And hello, Tracy.
Hey, Erika.
So great to have you here. You guys, I met Tracy at a production company. We worked together. I was a makeup artist, and we worked, for a couple of years there. And then I was freelance makeup artist, and we kept bumping into each other.
Yeah, like on different music videos, and then even at friends' houses and parties and stuff. I mean, we just, God just kept putting us in each other's paths all these years.
He kept doing it. I was like, oh, you know Tracy? Oh, yeah. It was so much fun.
How do you know Erika? I love her.
And then we just kept bumping. God, like you said, kept placing us in each other's path. You're like one of the best cheerleaders of anyone I've ever known. I mean,
that would be you.
Yeah,
you would win that contest.
Well, it's like, she came to the Worthy event we had, and you're the cutest thing. You're sitting on the front row, and it was like like a cheer mom. You were just up there, like, as I was talking, cheering me on, like, you can do it. You're doing great. I'm like, man, I need you up on the front row every time.
I would be honored to be there. It was awesome. I got so much out of that. The Worthy conference luncheon, it just really witnessed to me, and I know so many other ladies there. It's like I told you, I texted you, and I was like, I wish we could do this every weekend.
Oh.
It was so wonderful.
Yeah, I'm grateful that you came and you brought a friend and then met a new friend.
Yes.
So got to see her again today. Well, Tracy, one of the things that just I really thought about sharing with people is not only that you're a strong woman, you're talented, you're beautiful. All the years that I knew you, I mean, back in the professional days, you just had it all. In my eyes,
look like it.
You had it all. You had it together. You were, like I said, it really didn't seem, you were a go-getter. Didn't seem like anything would ever get in your way. And I think one of the times after we saw each other at a house party through some mutual friends, we got reconnected again. And, I don't know that I had talked to you in a while, but God brought us together again, and you shared with me your struggles and things you were going through. So let's start and talk about that. Tell us this story about what you were telling me the other day about I love it, the rock star. It was so cute.
Well, okay, so the reason why you're having me on the show is because I am the world's most grateful recovered alcoholic. That is why I'm here.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry, God just moves me so much. I'm so grateful for my sobriety and my sanity. That's my favorite part. It's my favorite part. But, I think it started, when I was a little kid, watching movies and seeing these successful, glamorous women on, in the movies. And they always had like a drink, like a bourbon over ice or martini or something, and a cigarette in the other hand. And they were standing at the bar, and, they just seemed like their life was so glamorous. And I just thought, man, if I had the drink and the cigarette, I'd have all that too, And I'm from Grapevine, Texas. And It's a little town. Not anymore. I'm so proud of Grapevine, Texas. Y'all visit it. And my granddaddy was the mayor there and served on the city council for like 20 years.
Wow.
And I grew up in First Baptist Church of Grapevine, Texas.
Yeah.
And I was there, 3-4 times a week, Sunday morning, Sunday night, Wednesday nights. And then we'd go witnessing on Monday nights,
Really?
And I was I would sing the solos on Sunday mornings in church.
I didn't even know you were a singer.
Yes,
See? All these hidden talents.
Well, I don't sing like I did when I was a kid, but I loved singing. I loved it. And so I was brought up in the church and, church retreats and just everything. Church was a big part of my life. And I always believed in God.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like he was up there, though, but I knew that he created everything. I knew that I would be in heaven someday, but I didn't have a relationship with him. I had a lot of respect for him, And so, I'm growing up in this little town and I'm just kind of restless and irritable. And, like I said, it was very glamorous to me what I thought a successful woman looked like, And when I was 16 years old, I got a job after school working as a receptionist at an ad agency in Las Colinas. And I thought that was the most glamorous job in the world. After school, I'd put on like a power suit and drive up there. And this was the 80s.
I was going to say a power suit. Do you remember the big oversized jackets with the boots and the leggings?
That's what I had on. Exactly. And this was the 80s. And so radio was really big. And so all of our clients were all the local radio stations. And then we did all the press junkets, all the movies came through Dallas.
That's fun. That is glamorous.
It really was. And so I was getting to experience all these things and meet all these people. And in the summer, I'd work there full time, like in the movie department or the creative department. But all these people, what did they do after work? They went to happy hour and I got to go with them. And I was like, whoa, I'm underage and I'm drinking with all these people. And I mean, this was great. Everybody likes me.
Yeah.
I'm fitting in and everything. But I didn't know that I had a drinking problem. Now that I know what an alcoholic is, I know I was born an alcoholic.
Really?
It's a physical allergy where once you start drinking, you can't stop. It's like, it's like a dehydration. Your body, you get dehydrated and you need more and more water. If I take that first drink, my body is just going to keep, it's going to find it.
Activates,
Yeah. It's an abnormal reaction. I'm going to drink until I run out, pass out, or get arrested. I mean, something's going to happen. I mean, I can't stop myself. But I thought that was all part of it. The being an adult and, just having to deal with a hangover and all that, and like, oh, it was so fun. And, I was so deceived that I believed that I needed that to fit in
or to have fun.
Exactly.
Even.
To have fun. And so, I would work all day and then drink all night and then get up and go back to work with a hangover the next day. I mean, I did this for many years. Along the way, I got pregnant. My son, I got pregnant and I told the guy I was pregnant and I never saw him again to this day.
Really?
Really. And so that was I look back and I just know that, there's a reason why they call them cliches is because they're true, a blessing in disguise. My son saved my life because when I found out I was pregnant, I quit, that was my last drink, my last cigarette. I mean, on my lands, I'm pregnant, And so I think if I had continued to drink the way that I was, I might have ended up dead or in prison or something, And I come from this really good family. It didn't make sense the way I was drinking and my behavior and everything to me, because I thought, that's like low class people or something, you know what I mean? That
Sure.
But here I am, a mess,
Yeah.
And so I wasn't even seeing my truth, the road that I was going down, because like you said, you didn't even know. I mean, it's like I was in a double life kind of, my own secret hell, really, is what it was. But when I got pregnant, I quit drinking and quit smoking.
Was it hard to do when you were pregnant? I mean, was that hard because you had been on
Well, at first it was like, something I needed to do, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then I started reading the baby books, and they said you could have 2 glasses of wine a day.
Oh, you were like, oh, I can have a little bit.
Yeah. And so
wow.
I was like, well, the book said I could do it.
Yeah.
So I would have 2 glasses of wine a day, you know, not every day, but, you know,
here and
there. Sure. And then I had my son, and he's so supposed to be here.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it was awesome. My son, everything. And so single mom, and I'm still, pursuing my desires to be in the production business. I really wanted to start out in front of the camera. Like I really wanted to be a movie star.
Yeah.
And
with that martini and cigarette in your hand.
Exactly. But mine was wild turkey over
Okay,
ice.
wild turkey.
Yeah. But yeah, that was my thing. And so I just had my son, and I went to college for acting.
Okay.
And what I learned there, like on the weekends, you can't go home and do like star in a blockbuster movie for homework and come back and talk about it.
Yeah.
You have to do theater. It was all on stage acting.
Okay. Wait, you were in college how old were you when you had Travis?
I was 21 when I had him.
21. Okay.
And so just a few months after he was born, I enrolled at KD Studios, the Acting Conservatory of the Southwest, which is still here today.
Yep.
And so I was a single mom. I've got to, get my career going, and because I had been working in advertising, but it's like, I'm getting old. I thought I'm 21 years old. I'm a mom now, I got to pursue my dreams. And in going to school there, it's, all on stage acting, and the discipline and the rejection, everything that comes along with that is just not my thing. I learned that it's like when you see somebody accept an Academy Award, for as high as they are in that moment, they have been that low.
Yeah.
And I'm just not like that. You know what I mean? My class is half full, and I just was not going to sign up for that kind of, just the discipline involved in that.
Or discipline,
and discipline, disappointment, all that. And so I started working like as a production assistant, and I was on set, and I'd look around and go, what job do I want here? What do I want here? And I was like, I figured out I'd be a good producer. I'd be a good casting director. And so I worked my way up to that. And
were you at one particular place as you were working your way up, or were you at different
places? And then lots of freelance. And it's always been very important to me, whatever I'm doing, that people, they can count on me. They rely on me. They need me. Like, I'm going to be the rock star. I'm going to be the one that saves the day.
Yeah.
And so, people, I've got people, they wouldn't work without me. If they had a shoot coming up or something, they're booking Tracy on it, and I loved that. I worked really hard at that.
Mm-hmm.
And so, but with all of that, with production, there comes a lot of rap parties, a lot of all that. So just my life is, I'm just drinking and working all the time.
Yeah.
And, but my son, thank God for my son, but I also tried to be the world's greatest mom.
Yeah.
I was the world's greatest mom with a hangover, very involved in.
Were you thinking, gosh, I've got this hangover, or were you just, it didn't even faze you? Like, I've got a headache, I've got a hangover, I feel terrible. But you really didn't think like, wow, I might have a problem. This is just what I'm doing. Yeah.
I just thought I've got to just trudge through this. You know what I mean? Like, it's just part of life. I really think I thought everybody was doing this.
You did?
Yeah, I really did.
So you thought it was normal to have a hangover that often, and it was normal to just you saw other people drinking, so you thought, well, they're just doing the same thing. Right,
exactly. I say that, but at the same time, I was definitely hiding it from like my grandparents.
Okay.
So I knew.
You knew enough to know
something's
not right.
Oh, yeah. And sometimes it was a lot of fun, and I made friends and got opportunities out of it, and it was great. But then every now and then it would be really ugly, just humiliating, demoralizing, something, just, oh my gosh, I would just like, I never want to do that again. And
like out of control or embarrassing things.
Absolutely. And I would, I'd wake up the next day promising, I am never going to drink again.
Oh.
I said that many times in my life. And then I find myself drinking, a month later, a week later, and then the next thing you know, the same day.
Yeah.
I never could keep that commitment to myself.
Mm-hmm.
But so when my son was in high school, and we had always been Team Terrell. Like I said, I was very involved in his life, and I supported him in sports. He was a great athlete, and he's my best friend, and he definitely was old enough now to see that my drinking was out of control.
Yeah.
And I didn't think there was anything wrong with the way that I drank. I was totally in denial. And I mean, I just had this attitude like, I pay the bills around here and I provide, you have a great life. So if I want to go to happy hour with my friends, what's the big deal?
What's the big deal? Yeah.
And one night I came home and I was drunk and we got into a big fight. And we had never gotten any kind of a fight like that before. It was really ugly. And so the next day, actually it was just a few days later, he actually got on a plane and moved to California to live with my brother. And that was like, wait, what? Wait a minute. I mean, I sent him because I thought he had this teenage angst and he needed a male in his life, because I'd never been married. He didn't have a father figure, it was just me and him. And so I thought, I was lying to myself saying this was going to be good for him. But at the same time, I was in a lot of pain.
Yeah.
And it was very confusing. And confusion is of the devil. And I was very confused. And my grandparents had just recently passed away a few months before that. And so my son is gone and my grandparents have passed away. They were in their 90s and they went home to be with the Lord. And so I was very alone. And, now I had all this freedom. I didn't have to hide anything from anybody, from my grandparents or my son.
And it never came in to your mind to think, or you just pushed it away when you thought, well, is my son going away? Was it my fault? Or did I cause this? Or you just kind of somewhere thought, oh, he needs a male figure?
Oh, I just thought that, that fight was really ugly. And I didn't know what to do. I didn't know how to fix us.
You wouldn't have known how to get help even if you tried at the moment, right?
No, not at all. Because I didn't know that I needed help. I just thought I needed to control my drinking, like just have a couple of them, and go home.
How did that work?
It didn't ever.
It really never did. You would try and think, oh, I'll have a few, and then you just order another, or...
Oh, yeah. Every time. Yeah, totally. So what would happen is I remember when my son was younger, I would tell my grandmother, okay, I'm going to be home by 7:30, and
because she was keeping him.
She was keeping him and after work, and I would, pull up in the parking lot of the bar and I'd call Travis and I'd say, look at the clock. I'm going to be there when the big hand is on the, that, and I'll be there by 7:30. And I would only take $12 in with me to the bar because
on purpose.
Because I have 2 drinks and tip the waitress.
Well, then everybody else would pay for it, right?
Well, no, I'm thinking I'm setting it up for success. I mean, I've told my grandmother I'm coming home. I've told my son I'm coming home.
Yeah.
I've come in with just the right amount of money, I get in and my girlfriends that are there, I'm telling them, hey, look, I've got to go home and help Travis with his homework, and y'all make sure I leave. So I'd go in, I'd start drinking and I'd have one drink and have another one. And then somebody would say, hey, I'll buy you a drink, and I'd look at the clock and go, I could be 15 minutes late. Yeah. That's normal, to be 15 minutes late. And so I'd have another one and then somebody'd buy me another one. And then I'd look, I could be another 15 minutes late, and then I'd look at the clock and go, he's already asleep by now. Oh. So why not? I'll just have another one, and next thing you know, I've closed the bar.
So but your mother or grandmother was
my
there?
Grandmother.
Your grandmother was taking care of him. Was that causing problems? Was she angry at you?
You know what? She was the world's greatest Christian woman. And she just loved me unconditionally, you know. And she knew I was sick and I didn't. Okay. She never blamed me like I was a bad person or a bad mother. It's like she knew that there was a demon riding me like a horse or something, And she she just prayed and prayed and prayed for me, prayed for me. And both my grandparents, they gave me chances all the time.
Yeah.
Like it was never a deal breaker with them. They just loved us so much. And so, and I know my grandmother, she just prayed for me all the time. Well, like I said, so they passed away and Travis went to live with my brother in California. And, I had all this freedom. And I remember I really had it worked out now because I had his car and my car, and I could, drive to the bar after work and then take a taxi home, and I'd have his car in the morning to drive back to work, and I just had this little circle going. And it was New Year's Eve that day, 2008, and I was sitting at my desk at work, and everybody's talking about, what they're doing that night. They're all making their plans to go out for New Year's Eve. And I have just this horrible hangover. I feel terrible. Like I want to go home and go to bed. And everybody kind of left early, and I'm sitting at my desk by myself, thinking, what am I going to do? I have all these parties I can go to. I could go home and go to bed. I could do, whatever. What do I want to do? And I felt physically so bad, and I was so emotionally bankrupt. And I was just sitting there by myself, and, I've never heard God's voice before, but he talked to me. I heard him. I was sitting there, and it was like he was in the room, and it was out loud. And he said, go to AA. And I think out loud, I said, really? Like what? Really? And he said it again. He said, and I think he said my name. I think he said, Tracy, go to AA. I was like, just kind of surprised because I hadn't been thinking about that. I mean, it's not like, like you're working on a diet. Oh, I'm going to lose weight. I'm going to start tomorrow or something. Yeah. It never occurred to me that I needed to go to AA recently. And so praise God, I'm his sheep and I hear his voice because I was obedient to it. I got in my car and I drove to an AA meeting in Grapevine, Texas.
You just knew where to find it, or you just looked it up, or?
I think I looked it up where it was. Yeah.
That was before Google.
Right. Yeah. No,
or maybe not.
It was on Google. It was 2008. It was New Year's Eve, 2008. And I drove up there, and there were some people standing outside. And for about an hour, I drove around that parking lot, and I was terrified.
You didn't know what to do, did you?
I didn't want to go in there.
Yeah.
No way did I want to go in there. And I did, though. After about an hour, I went inside, and oh, my lands, I was so wounded and broken and just crying and just, confused and didn't know what I was doing in there. And I went in, I sat down by myself at a table, and I'm just, tears are running down my face. I'm just shaking. And all these people came up to me, and they said, well, what are you doing here? Why don't you wait till tomorrow? Because it was New Year's Eve.
Yeah.
And I remember just looking at them like, wait, what? And, I didn't have another day in me. I wish I could find those people and tell them, don't ever say that to anybody. But I'm glad I, was so broken. I couldn't do it. I stayed.
Well, they were telling you to go party another day and come back.
Yes.
Oh, my gosh. I need vision. I need creativity. I need someone to handle it all. Do you know an expert that can help me?
agirlforthat.com.
Event planning?
agirlforthat.com.
Branding our family vacation?
agirlforthat.com.
Work with my budget?
agirlforthat.com.
Meet the deadlines?
agirlforthat.com.
Ideas that will blow everybody away?
agirlforthat.com.
Hi, I'm Jenny, founder of The Girl for That. Our thorough and exclusive event planning, vacation branding, and decorating services bring sophistication and excitement to any project. Here at The Girl for That, we pride ourselves on providing expert guidance throughout the whole planning process, and we don't stop until our clients are 100% happy with the finished look. We believe the little things make the biggest difference, and that outstanding events and branding are possible no matter the budget. Visit us on Instagram at The Girl for That or online at thegirlforthat.com. You'll be a huge success because you know The Girl for That.
So, thank God I was done because I sat there and I listened And it was New Year's Eve, so they had a meeting after a meeting after a meeting. And I was there till like 2:00 in the morning.
Or you just stayed.
I just stayed. And so the next day, I went to another meeting. And I think I went to 2 or 3 meetings that day, and then the next day and the next day. And about 3 weeks went by. I would go, I was going in the morning before work, then at lunch, then a couple
You were just
afterwards.
hungry.
I was searching,
Yeah.
and I didn't tell anybody because I thought if I tell somebody I'm going to AA, then that means I really got to do this.
Yeah.
Right.
That means I can't go meet them for happy hour.
And I had not decided yet if I was really going to do this or not.
Yeah.
And so I had been in, probably 100 AA meetings, less than a month. And you say the Serenity Prayer. And so I'd said this like 100 times. And this time I prayed it. I mean, I heard it. It says, God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to accept the things that I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. And I just thought, I can't quit drinking, but I can follow these directions. God can give me the courage to do what these people are telling me I need to do to quit drinking. I was like, okay. So then I got a sponsor and I worked the steps and it was just an absolute miracle, just a miracle. AA, it is a trick. What I mean is people go there to quit drinking. You find God. You get to meet him. You get to have a relationship with him. We get there, like alcohol beat me down so bad that I had to cry out to God.
Yeah.
And that's how I got to know him. So, I deeply regret a lot of my years with my drinking. And I'm also so grateful for it because if it wasn't for my alcoholism, I wouldn't have the relationship with God that I have today.
Yeah.
So, like I said, I always believed in God, but now I rely on him.
Yeah.
I know him. He's always known me. And now I know him. And it's like in AA, we call it the big book. It's the instructions on the steps, the 12 steps to get sober, actually to get sane. And
both.
Yes. And I call it the Bible for Dummies because it is every principle out of the Bible. It's exactly the instructions that God has for us. And I'm so grateful that they were able to break it down for me to receive it, follow his directions. And now the real Bible, oh my lands, I just can't get enough of that.
Yeah.
It is alive. It is divine. It is the playbook of life. I'm just so grateful to God. He is so awesome. He's so awesome. So I've been sober now 12 years, and what's today's date?
22nd.
And 22 days.
Really?
Yeah, because New Year's Eve is my sobriety date. Oh, yeah. And I just cherish that so much. My whole life has always been kind of dramatic, like there's profound or whatever. And it's just like, if God's going to do something with me, he's going to do it. I just love New Year's Eve. Like that's the day I got sober, on the day people were telling me to go have another drink,
And now yours, they look a little different. You have I bet you do it in a big way. What do you do? Lots of snacks, lots of fun drinks. How about a Shirley Temple?
Oh, yes. Oh, my
That can be glamorous.
It's very glamorous. I love being sober. I tell people being sober is like being drunk because it's like, look at all the pretty colors and I can smell everything and I remember it and I feel great.
Yeah.
And I think when I was drinking, I thought I was like drinking with my friends and being a part of something, fellowshipping. You're by yourself. It's like having blinders on. You're in your own hell. There's no connection there.
Yeah.
And like now when I'm around people that are now you can drink all you want to around me. It doesn't bother me. Like God has removed that. I don't drink. Like I know I'm not going to go down in your laundry room right now and drink a glass of bleach. I'm not going to drink a glass of wine. It's just not for me. I don't do it. I could die, And so, but it's funny when people have too much to drink around me, I'm just like, thank God.
Thank God I'm not that way anymore.
Not the one. But another thing I found out after I got sober, I think I was the only drunk person there. Like,
really?
Like backstage, it's a working area.
Yeah.
It's not a party place. But I was back there partying.
Yeah.
I think I'm the only one. I made a fool out of myself all the time. But people were very forgiving. I have lots of friends, and I have lots of very respectable people that respect me. It's crazy. Like, how did people tolerate me for as long as they did? I don't know. But there are a lot of people like you that say they had no idea also.
Yeah, had no idea. And, I was a single mom as well for 16 years. We had that in common. And I just thought you were like a rock star. Because I did see you in your profession and but like I didn't know that but that was impressive to me. I worked freelance most of my career just so I could be there to take Erika Lane, pick her up, drop her off. And I sacrificed making more money for that, but I never regret it.
Right.
Just for me, that's kind of how, with what my talents and skills were, that's how it worked out for me. But I just remember thinking you were just it. Hey, you were all that with the cigarette and the martini. I never even saw you with that, but, wouldn't have even known that. But I was wondering, so now that you've been sober all these years, and when you began to get sober, how was that for your son?
Oh, wow. That's one of my favorite things. So, like I said, my son had gone to live with my brother in California, and I got a sponsor. I started working the steps, and it's a miracle what happens. It's just an absolute amazing spiritual experience. And the ninth step is when you make amends to people that you've harmed, right? And, I was just absolute, it's very awkward and terrifying, and I'd made a few amends here, and it was awesome. Like the healing that happened and the reactions that I got from people, and it was just awesome, so I had a few under my belt, and I was like, okay, this is good. God is good with this. And so I flew out to California, and I was terrified, but I needed to make amends to my son. And I said, I've been selfish and self-centered in our relationship. What can I do to right the wrong? And he said, I don't know what you mean by that. And I said, well, when I said it to Grandma, she said, you just keep doing what you're doing.
Yeah.
Because they knew that I had gotten sober. And he said, yeah, Mom, you do that. And he just hugged me. And we have been just that moment, everything was okay. It was better. He never looked back. He never punished me for any, all was forgiven. Like God healed, restored us. It was beautiful.
Yeah.
And I'm just so grateful for that.
Through that, how hard was it to forgive yourself? Because I know, forgiving others, and I know just stepping a little bit away from that, I'm just bringing up something else, but how hard was that, and when did you go through that forgiveness for yourself? Because sometimes forgiving ourselves is the hardest.
Well, the truth is, I don't know that I have. What I mean is, I really would like to go back and do it better, I know that I was sick. That's the thing, is alcoholism. It is an allergy that I didn't choose, It's just like somebody having cancer, Now, but I was told not to drink. My grandparents told me.
Oh, really?
Yeah, there's no good that comes out of alcohol. They didn't drink. I wasn't supposed to drink or smoke cigarettes, but that peer pressure, everybody's drinking and smoking, and I'm from South Lake. And we, went in the pasture and had bonfires and stuff, and was boredom, we're drinking and smoking and stuff. And so if I had never taken that first drink, I wouldn't have had all this wreckage and damage. I wouldn't have hurt other people and myself. And so, if I had, God is all about obedience.
Yeah.
If we're obedient to him, and if I had been obedient, and I had all all the people, the training and the support, like I said, I grew up in church, and I'm just so grateful that God does forgive me, though. God has forgiven me, and that's what matters. It doesn't matter what other people think or what even I think. The truth is that God has forgiven me, and he has restored me, and I'm so grateful for my experiences, because it's been the neatest thing. I've got to help so many people.
Yeah, I bet.
Like, relating to them and helping them. And I'm just so grateful for that. That's the neatest thing. It's like, God, that was awesome. Please use me again.
Yeah.
And I was worthless before as far as helping people,
Well, forgiving yourself. I mean, that's definitely, like I went through the road adventure, and that was something that we worked on, forgiving others, forgiving yourself is part 2. And it's like even that's the longest weekend out of the entire program. And don't hang on to that, and don't punish yourself, and don't, because you do know the way. You do know. All you have to do is speak the words and ask for forgiveness, and it's done just like that. So maybe you hanging on to it is something where you're thinking could have changed the past. You can't change the past, and you are so grateful.
I'm so grateful.
So just ask, and I'm going to follow up with you on that and make sure of it, because we're going to, if not, I just want to I don't want you hanging on to that.
Well, I know God has forgiven me, and I know a lot of people that have forgiven me. It's just so hard for me to, forgive myself. It's just, I get it. I do get, and then I don't, it's just kind of go back and forth with it a little bit. I'm just so grateful that God sent his son to die on the cross for me. And he did. And I haven't had to pay for all my sins. That's amazing. That's amazing, because I'm a sinner. And this is what's crazy. So when I was growing up, my grandmother, she'd say, "Oh, I'm such a sinner. I'm such a sinner." And I'd be looking at her at the breakfast table going, "You don't know what a sin is. If you knew what I did last night, Well, now that I am, a born again Christian, dedicated my life to Christ. I want to be obedient. I seek, what does God want me to do today? How am I supposed to, it's all about living for Christ, living for God. I know what my grandmother was talking about. Like, I am such a sinner. I'm a sinner because, I don't go out and misbehave anymore, but the stuff going on in my mind, like the fear, the jealousy, the resentment, and like, that's what I have for myself. Like shame, regret of my past, all these things, that's the sin, and so God has to save me from that stuff now, the alcoholism, whatever, that's nothing. The spiritual battle that we're in now, that is, I got to put on my armor of God. Put on the armor.
Hey,
yes.
and valor. See, this is putting on your armor of God.
Oh, that's
cool. You ever
cool.
smell that one?
Let me smell that.
I heard that's what we say about that one when people smell it. Just like, isn't that something?
Oh, that is something. Well, I heard a lady one time say, God said, put on your armor, but he never said take it off. So you're supposed to sleep in it.
Keep it on.
Yeah, keep it on.
Keep your mind clean. Keep your mind thinking the way God said, everything God says about you. Is there any other thing you'd like to share?
If you're struggling with anything, it doesn't matter what it is. It could be drugs, alcohol, relationship issues, or just anxiety. Anything that's going on. Jesus saves. He does. Get down on your knees and cry out to God. Talk to God. He will help you. There's so many promises in the Bible. God promises us if we seek him, we will find him.
Yeah.
Knock and it will be open. Ask and it will be answered. So neat to learn that I was made for love, that I can be loved every day, and I can love every day. And that is where peace comes from. Oh, that's my favorite thing about my relationship with God is this world. It is corrupt. It is evil's a real thing. I mean, you can't set yourself up to avoid any pain or trouble or tribulation. You know, the Bible says we will have tribulations. But when you lean on the Lord, when you have that relationship with him, that is where the peace is.
And surrender.
Yeah. And I'll take peace over anything. I'll take peace, broke sitting in a ditch than I would, all the chaos of everything sitting up, in the throne, wherever, in some mansion or whatever. I'm just saying that I'm so grateful to know the Lord, and I want everybody to know him.
Yeah.
Like, he loves you. So if you're struggling with anything, I just encourage everybody, go to church. I never gave up on church. I went to church with a hangover. Brought my son to church. I'm just so glad I had that foundation of church, because when I was ready to surrender, like you said, when I finally surrendered, all of that made sense.
Yeah.
Everything I had learned.
That was a blessing.
Oh.
And I think your grandmother praying for you. Wow.
Yeah. And see, that's the thing is, my grandparents, they never got to see me get sober, but I wouldn't be without them. My grandmother's praying, I'm telling you, and never given up on me. She has so much to do with my sobriety, and she never even got to see it. So you just don't know what seeds you're planting or the influence you have on somebody's life. So you just do your best. You just keep pouring into people and encouraging them and blessing them.
Yeah.
You just don't even know. But I feel like when she got to heaven, she said, okay, God, it's time. You're going to save Tracy.
Yeah.
Okay. And I think he said, okay.
Yeah. That is a beautiful, beautiful testimony.
Well, a year after I got sober, I started going to a Bible study. And I met my husband there.
I was going to say, see?
Yes. And see, my grandmother always said, you'll meet a nice boy at a Bible study. She always said that. And I did. And we got married, and he came with 4 girls. And so we're a blended family. There's 7 of us.
That's a lot.
It is a lot. It's a lot.
That's like a reality show or something.
Oh, it really could be. Yes. Yes, but we all love each other, and it's wonderful.
Yeah.
I'm so happy. And I'll tell you what, everybody, you just trust God. He will blow your mind. He provides for every need that you have. I'm very grateful. I've never had to deal with anxiety, and I see so many people that just have all this anxiety. And I get it that it's very real what's happening. And I wish I could help remove that. And it's like, if you look back at your life, it was okay.
Yeah.
Like, no matter what, God came through for you.
Yeah.
He really did. And he's going to do it again today.
Yeah.
And he's going to do it again tomorrow. So that's what it is. Let go and let God. That's the peace that transcends all understanding.
Yeah.
You really can relax and trust. You don't have to be in the bondage of those feelings.
True.
That it is a choice. Just give it a try. Don't even care, and watch. It's going to be okay.
Give it a try. Yeah. That's great. I love that.
Yeah.
Thank you. Love you so much, and I appreciate you sharing everything with us today.
I love you too, Erika.
Yeah.
And your show's blessed me. I've been listening to it, and I can't believe I'm on it. This is amazing.
Now I'm on it. Now you get to bless all those other people.
I hope so.
Well.
I really hope so.
Well, thanks everyone again. And if you wouldn't mind, please subscribe to the podcast and write a good review and share on your social media. And we'll see you again here on Amazing Grace Talk.